Hey everybody, it's Mike Young, and welcome to my book, Live to 150. This is chapter 132. I am a lifestyle nutritionist with aPlantBasedDiet.org, our nonprofit. So thank you so much for joining us, and be sure to subscribe before I even get into this chapter, because this is an important chapter. It's near the end of the book because we're going to have 150 total chapters in this book, and we've talked about a number of diseases. We've talked about how disease itself, the whole idea of disease, is contrary to health. And when I think of someone that's healthy, I think of someone that's free from disease. Now, have you ever thought that cancer is a disease? That's the subject of this chapter. So it's important that you actually maybe even reframe cancer, because what we hear in society is that there's a war on cancer. I hate cancer. Fuck cancer. All kinds of stuff like this. And they really don't address what's actually going on here in the human body. They think that something has I don't know, leached onto us and is attacking, just going after us. And we got to do our best to fight the battle, the war against cancer. But unfortunately, the war is actually in ourselves. And this message has been incredibly clouded. And from this book so far, if you've read all the chapters or watched the chapters, this is not a scientific journal. I'm not going through studies and talking about things. I'm just talking about how the body works, how the body was designed, what optimizes the body, what creates health, what destroys health, what optimizes health, all these types of things. So for cancer as we generally know it today in 2022 is, it's a cell that's kind of messed up. It's gone rogue. And it starts to reproduce and create these lesions and lumps and masses of cancerous cells. Now, why is that? Why would the body do that? Well, it's the same process as most every other disease. It's a warning sign. The body is trying to get your attention by doing some freaked out stuff. And of course, when we go to the physician or whoever we're talking to, and of course, we're not practicing medicine here, though we are talking about what to eat and habits, so important. They're going to just look at it and start treating the symptoms, start managing the disease. They're not ever going to say that you're ever be cured of something or even know why it even showed up. I've talked with a number of people that have had cancer recently, acquaintances and things. And usually what they hear from the doctor is, no, we're not really sure. We don't know why this happened. And is there anything I can do about this, doc? No, we just don't know. But the reality is we do know. And it's all related. It's all the same thing. It's all a similar concept. And that's what we're going to dive into here in this chapter. I've got my notes here. So number one, if cancer is always, so there are always some cancer cells in your body. The thing is, your body can manage them. All right. If you're in a good state of balance and a good state of health, which is what we talk about here in the book, then you will have optimized your immune system. And we'll have a chapter on that, immune system optimization. Very important in this post-COVID world. So you're going to have to optimize yourself, keep yourself in balance, because the cancer is always there. And you need to be able to kind of put the cancer in its place. I wouldn't even call it a battle or a war. It's just like, oh, you cells over here, you're not really doing the right thing. We need to kind of take this over and kind of shove you aside or consume you, whatever we do to kind of bring things back into balance. It's the cancerous condition is highlighting an out of balance condition. Now, what kind of conditions could there be? There could be a number of them, actually. There's all types of cancers. So I'm kind of lumping every single kind of cancer, from colon cancer to breast cancer to testicular cancer to prostate cancer to liver cancer. Actually, liver cancer, maybe too much alcohol. Alcohol is a known carcinogen. So number one, you want to avoid known carcinogens. You can find this up-to-date list on the internet. It's a great thing about the internet. Make sure you go to some of the legit cancer organizations, find out, get the list. And almost all these lists, you're going to see the same things like bubbling up to the top, which are alcohol, red meat, ultraviolet radiation, a few other things like that. Tobacco smoke, right? Breathing in gasoline fumes. These are known human carcinogens. But remember, I said alcohol. Alcohol's on there. It's funny how they serve alcohol at breast cancer events. I just don't get it. Doesn't make any sense at all. I guess we're just sheep. We just like to have a good time amongst like-minded individuals for a good cause. even though we're going to consume the things that are actually causing the condition, which is reversible, but not discussed at the event. A lot of things, times when you have like heart walks and things, they'll also serve animal products, which, if you read Dr. T. Colin Campbell's book, The China Study, and I interviewed him, check that interview out on our channel. Awesome. I had an interview about the most health optimizing diet for humans, whatever the optimal diet for humans is. And we talked about that. It was an awesome discussion with Dr. Campbell. Anyway, his book basically says that animal protein causes cancer, not just the red meat kind that they're talking about that you'll see everywhere on the internet, but all kinds of animal protein, including casein, which is in dairy products, like yogurts. There's Yoplait yogurt fighting cancer, breast cancer, and then they're at breast cancer events, and then they're actually causing the cancer. They don't say this, but this is the world we live in. It's really messed up right now. And you have some other examples, please go down in the comments. Let us know what these examples are. I'm sure as time goes on, there'll be more examples that I haven't mentioned here in the chapter, but also as time goes on, I hope there are less and less, because I hope they start getting labeled as what they are and that people start avoiding them, or the government taxes the heck out of them, or they become illegal, or some kind of combination of that. That's what needs to happen. Anyway, okay. So it's always in the body, keep in balance, cancer prevention and reversal. One of the things that's key to keeping the body in balance, we've discussed this in the past and here in the book, is an alkaline condition within the body. And you foster that most alkaline condition possible by eating the most alkaline foods, which are, of course, plants, whole plants, lots of fruits, okay, lots of green leafy vegetables, all these kind of things. All this stuff at our pyramid. Go to the chapter on a plant-based diet, the food pyramid. There's a food chapter. There's food pyramid. Go to that, or just go to aPlantBasedDiet.org as Robert. You'll see the pyramid. So you want to eat the stuff at the bottom, the colored stuff, right? Not just the hazes and shades of brown and white, but the real colors. That kind of stuff, kind of almost every instance, indicates an alkalinizing food, which is going to keep your body in balance and ward off the building up of cancer cells into a mass in your body. That's what you want to do. We're not saying anyone's ever going to be cancer free, and that the doctor says, well, no one can say you're cancer. Well, you're right. I can't say you're cancer free either, because there's always going to be cancer cells in there. It's your job to maintain that balance. So what's your favorite alkalinizing food too? Because acid is the opposite of that. And unfortunately, acid involves a lot of foods that are shades of brown and white. There's a chapter on white poisons. There's the idea that cooked foods in general cause acidosis or acid forming. Even oatmeal, if you hadn't thought about it, is acid forming. Okay, so you got to keep this in mind. If you want to work that balance, you want to avoid having to have cancer take over, which is what it is, because cancer is always there. We just don't want to take over. That's all. Okay, there's always going to be cells that are not perfect, and the body knows how to dispose and deal with those. It's no big deal. It's when they overwhelm the body that it becomes a problem. So animal protein we talked about, likely known carcinogen. Definitely red meats and processed red meats, absolutely known. Highest level cancer causers like tobacco smoke, like ultraviolet radiation, and like alcohol. Okay, so those things, I know that's stuff that everybody eats. Well, everything doesn't cause cancer, but the stuff that you eat does. If you're a fruitarian, you know what I'm talking about. Let me know down below. You know you're not eating this stuff, any of this stuff. So, okay, supplements is another thing. Dr. T. Colin Campbell says supplements cause cancer. Don't think, oh, I got to get my nutrition, so I'm going to take a bunch of supplements. No, you're going to cause cancer potentially from the supplements as well. So we don't want that. So one of the things I was talking about, see, animal protein, alcohol, sunlight. I have several chapters on the sun, if you've been reading the book so far. The sun is awesome, but the right balance of filtered sun. Everything's about balance, remember? Oh, we got a phone call. Well, I have to ignore them for now. Everything is about balance. We need the sun. We just need filtered sun, because that direct ultraviolet radiation will kill us. It will harm us in so many ways. The body won't be able to recover. There's no object that's more powerful than the sun. Not even close. I know some people were talking about like nuclear fusion, all this other stuff. It's still not even close to the power of the sun, because the sun is so far away. Okay, the sun is way, way out there. If you were to get that close, as you are to these nuclear fusion reactors or whatever, to the sun, you would have already disintegrated so many years previous in your multi-year journey even to get to the sun, because it's that powerful. So the plants help to harness that energy of the sun and use it for good. Don't just go out there and, get too much ultraviolet radiation. That's the bottom line. Ultraviolet radiation is a known carcinogen. All right. And we have a chapter on sunscreen. Just cover up. You don't really use sunscreen. Let me know your strategies on that too in the comments. All right. Inflammation is another thing. Inflammation in general is thought to basically foster, again, that's the word I'll use, foster the production of cancer cells. It's going to provide the right environment for cancer to grow. We don't want that, okay? I know others have said sugar, so yeah, don't eat processed sugar for sure. Now, fruitarians, that's not processed sugar if you're eating straight fruit, okay? Different type. It's kind of like the difference between salt as crushed rocks, because if you add salt from a shaker, it's crushed rocks, okay? You wouldn't have any other rock in crushed form that you're putting on your food. But the sodium in the plants is a completely different form, and that's the form that you want to use. So inflammation, you want to stop inflammation as best as you can, again, by eating these alkalinizing foods. Following us on the food chart, go to chapter 42. Chapter 42 talks about all the different factors too. Don't get a high-fat diet either, because that will potentially cause, elevate your cholesterol levels and potentially cause inflammation as well, which will lead to your body getting thrown out of balance and not being able to deal with the cancer cells in the body. All right, arthritis is another one. Now, dairy is thought to cause, breast cancer, prostate cancer. We talked about red meat, alcohol, ultraviolet radiation, and animal protein in general. So that's basically it. I have finished my unscientific analysis of cancer in humans, but as you can see, it's not really that complicated. Yes, it does involve doing some things that you weren't trained and raised in. That's the entire book. This entire book deals with all that stuff. We know that. We know that the only way to really succeed and have a fulfilled life is to keep learning, keep improving. Because if you're not improving, you're backsliding. If you're not learning, you're basically just closed-minded. And if you're not learning, you're not using your body, you're not developing, you're not growing, you're not improving, you're not feeling better, you're not going to be happy, you're going to feel like you are worthless. So you don't want to feel that way. You want your life purpose, you want your goals, and then you don't want cancer to get you. Okay, so that's what this chapter is about. You got to bring all this stuff together. That's why it's also near the end of the book. All these concepts create balance. They either bring you towards that centering balance, or they drive you away from that concept of balance. And the further you get driven away from that concept of balance, the more likely you are to get cancer. And again, I know there's outliers of people that have smoked and they're 95 and they're cancer free, but that you do not want to depend on that. There is no way that the average person can do that. Like I've said before, it's like betting your retirement on winning the lottery. Yes, it happens to people. Actually, most of those lottery winners go bankrupt. You need to have a good life. You need to have fun. That's what we're here to do. And cancer is not fun. Everybody knows that. So pass this word along to anybody that thinks they is afraid they're going to get cancer. And also, we're going to talk about the genetics versus lifestyle thing in a chapter very soon. That's kind of related to this as well. So you get lots more good stuff in the book. If you got some value, please hit the like button. Give me some of your comments and feedback below. And of course, subscribe. We'll see you in the next chapter. Bye-bye.